So, since the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, starting in 2 days, I thought, why the hell not make some NHL playoff predictions? We're going to be going through every single play-in round, 4 from the East, 4 from the West. I'm going to be picking the team that I think is going to win, as well as the amount of games I think it'll take for them to win. Alright, so we're going to start off with the Eastern Conference. First matchup, Toronto versus Columbus. Obviously, I'm a Leafs fan. I'm probably a bit biased to this, but I have the Leafs winning. However, I do have an explanation as to why I think this. Since the season has been put on pause for about 5 months, coming back to it is going to be similar to like the beginning of a new season. And what I mean by that is usually games at the beginning of the season have a lot more goals in it compared to like solid defense. Solid defense is more something that comes over the time of the season. And Columbus is obviously a very strong defensive team. However, Toronto is a really good offensive one. And since like it's going to be all over the place, I genuinely believe the Leafs have an advantage, at least in this sense. Not that it's going to be an easy matchup because Columbus did sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning last year. However, I have the Leafs winning in 5 games. Matchup 2, we have Montreal versus Pittsburgh. This one to me is kind of a no-brainer. Then again, in the NHL, we never know. But I don't see how the Montreal Canadiens get past the Pittsburgh Penguins unless Carey Price turns into 2014 like super power mode goalie and saves literally everything. Other than that, I don't see how the Habs can win. I also don't see why the Habs want to win, because if you guys lose, you guys can have a chance at Lafreniere, which is a player you guys can really, really make use of. Like, especially like he gets to play. I think Montreal should go more for the pick, but then again, why would you be in the playoffs if you wouldn't be trying? I'm sure they're going to put their heart and soul into it. However, I have the Penguins winning in 4 games. Now, we have the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Rangers. This is going to be a really good series. Like, I don't know if, like, I personally don't hear many stories about, like, the Hurricanes all that much, but they're a really, really, like, look at this team on paper, they're insane. Not to mention the fact that the Rangers are also insane and really young. So, like, I think this is going to be a hell of, like, a matchup. It's going to be close games, high offense, really good defense. Like, I think it's just going to be all around, like, really nice hockey to watch. I have the Rangers winning that one in 5, not 4, 5 games. Next up, we have the New York Islanders versus the Florida Panthers. This one's, I feel like, is the sleeper round out of all of them. Not to any disrespect to any of the teams, but, like, you have Florida, who is a really high-scoring team, and the Islanders, who is a much more defensive unit of, like, a group. But they're also, like, not really, like, popular teams, call it. Like, Florida basically barely has... I don't know any Florida fans, honestly. But then again, in terms of the hockey that's going to be played, this one is going to just be a matter of who can play whose game. Like, if Florida can make the Islanders play their game, in which it's a very fast-paced cycling game, Florida's going to win that because their counterattacks are insane. Their offense is nuts. And also, if Bobrovsky decides to play well. Then you have the Islanders, who would like to play a much tighter, close-knit hockey game. If it stays that way, I see the Islanders winning. Overall, I think the Islanders are a better team, and I have them winning in 5. But I wouldn't be crazy surprised if the Panthers do pull through. Now, the Western Conference. Round number 1, we have the All-Canadian Calgary versus Winnipeg. Personally, this is going to be a banger of a series, and also it's guaranteed a Canadian team advancing to the actual playoffs, so that's pretty good. Both teams are massive in terms of size. They got insane talent. There's a huge rivalry there. This is going to be no doubt a banger of a series. I think that the Jets, what they have as an advantage is the fact that they've already been there many times and they've gotten through it, like, to continue through the rounds, meaning, like, the experience. Whereas Calgary in the last 10 to 15 years hasn't really gone anywhere in the playoffs. But then again, the NHL showed us last year that we have no idea what's going to happen. But anyways, my pick is the Winnipeg Jets in 4 games. Next up, we have Vancouver versus Minnesota. I just bluntly think the Vancouver Canucks are a better team. Minnesota's always a team that makes the playoffs. They're a good team, but they're never great. Like, they're always a playoff team, but they're never a cup contender. Like, there's a difference. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just think Vancouver now, especially with Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, like their team is starting to form, and I really think that they're gonna give the Wild a hard time. And I have the Canucks in 4. Next up, the Edmonton Oilers versus the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of people have been telling me that they actually think Chicago's gonna pull an upset. I don't see how that could happen. McDavid and Draisaitl have just been a unit to be like, you can't stop them. Even if you want to, even if you know where you're going, you can't stop Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. Whether they're together or separated, together's a nightmare, but the point is, their team is carried heavily through them, but like it works. And I also think if they can get some like secondary and like depth scoring in the Oilers, I think the Oilers are really gonna go like far in the playoffs. So for this round, I have the Oilers winning in 4 games versus the Chicago Blackhawks. For the final round, we have Nashville and Arizona. I haven't heard much about this series really at all. It's also because I'm Canadian and these teams are anything but Canadian. They're like on the real south end of US pretty much. But I think that Nashville, they need to do something before they waste a really good era of a hockey team, because they've gone to the finals and they blew it, and they had a whole bunch of chances to advance, but then they always fell short. Arizona started the season absolutely insane, acquired Taylor Hall, and then kind of went downward. Also, their goalie was injured, so he's going to be back, so that might be a difference. I think the Preds should win this in 4 games. That is my guess. I don't have any sweeps in this round just because, like, I don't think the teams are at their top form right now. So I feel like it's all up in the air. Like, I feel like each team will take at least 1 game from each series. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what your predictions are for the play-in round. We're going to be doing another one of these videos once the first round starts. Like I said, please like the video, subscribe. Check out my TikTok at ThatLeafsFan. Hope you have a good day. Peace out.